Okay, so on the
Right.
topic of Chabad, one of the major corruptions with Trump is Bayrock, and there's a film done by a Dutch company called Zembla called The Dubious Friends of Trump. I suggest everybody checks that out. This is the
Very
legitimate,
good.
yeah, very good, very well done, very well researched. This is the legitimate Russia route that the FBI is aware of, and they say no comment on it. You know,
About Felix Sater.
Director, are you aware of Felix Sater, a former Soviet official and advisor to the Trump Organization?
I'm not going to comment on that.
And Director, outside of Mr. Sater's relationship with the Trump Organization, are you aware that the FBI knew of Mr. Sater because of a $40 million stock fraud case that was prosecuted by the federal government?
Same answer.
so Bayrock was a real estate group that Trump used to get Trump Soho off the ground. Because we got to remember, Trump went bankrupt, multiple times. So it becomes hard to get cash flow at that point. So you got to kind of find backers in shady places. So the owners of Bayrock, this real estate group, Tafik Arif provides the seed money in 2001, and he runs hotels. That's where his wealth comes from. And so he's involved with all these shell companies. So they're moving money through these shell companies. That's how these guys operate. Arif is also involved in human trafficking, and that's a whole nother thread. But anyway, Trump and Arif partner up for Bayrock, and another owner is Felix Sater. Now, Felix Sater became an FBI informant and a military intelligence informant. So he was giving legitimate information for the military on Stinger missiles in Afghanistan. Now, he became an FBI/military informant after he got caught conducting a $40 million stock fraud operation. So, but the FBI said, "Oh, it's okay, become an informant, and we'll let you go back on your criminal activities." So, and it's almost like these guys set him up with Trump. There's a possibility that intelligence said, "Hey, we got a great business partner for you, Donald. His name's Felix Sater." And I'm sure Kyle could go on forever about Sater. But anyway, Felix Felix's dad, Mikhail Sater, and Sater's not their original last name. It was much more Jewish than that. These guys are all Chabad Jewish mafia guys that I'm talking about here.
He
Felix
was man of
Sater,
the year. He was man of the year at was it Crown Heights, Chabad in New York?
yeah, something like that. But anyway, Felix Sater's father was known by the FBI to be a syndicate crime boss for Simon Mogilovich. Now, Simeon Mogilovich was a notorious, very high-profile Ukrainian Jew Chabad mafia figure, one of the very high-profile guys.
Mogilevich is a very high-profile international organized crime figure. He's a man of a great deal of means, and we have every reason to believe that while he's based out of Russia at the moment, he could possibly be traveling under false identification, using aliases throughout the world.
And he had at least 3 of his underlings living at Trump Tower. Now, Trump's earliest appearances in the Panama Papers, by the way, we would not know any of this stuff if it wasn't for the Panama Papers. Trump's earliest appearance in the Panama Papers shows obvious money laundering via Trump Tower using quick condo flips between the Trump Corporation and a woman from Hong Kong that has appeared in other leaked papers. So anyway, going back to Mogilovich is very good friends with Dmitry Firtash, another Ukrainian Chabad Jew mafia figure was very close with Mogilovich, and he's also connected to Vincent Checkenquiz. All right, the original Jew behind SCL that injected the cash. It was involved in the Orange Revolution and all that stuff. So Checkenquiz and Firtash are connected via shell companies in Libya. So this is how these Chabad, this is how these international Jewish criminals, this is how they move their money around through shell companies. Okay, that's our only chance of really getting a paper trail here is these shell companies that we got here. But anyway, so obviously SCL Group is connected to Trump in that way. And then Firtash is also great friends with Viktor Yanukovych, the former president of Ukraine. And he became the former president via the consulting and lobbying efforts of Victor's good friend, Paul Manafort. Okay? Right. So that connects back to Manafort and Stone. And then we see Rudy Giuliani setting up a Dutch intermediary for Viktor Krampanov, another Chabad type of figure here. And Victor stole hundreds of millions of dollars from Kazakhstan, the Kazakhstani government, and he was laundering part of that money via Trump Soho from Bayrock and Trump. He was buying apartments there, so he was laundering it that way. So again, Trump, Sater, and Arif owning Soho there. So anyway, so you see this big circle here with Rudy Giuliani, Manafort, Trump. These guys it all connects back. So, and I would love it if someone who supports Trump can pick up on this information and see that, well, there's some criminal activities going on here. Please go ahead and connect leftists to it, because they connect right in there. The only reason I'm not focusing on them is because they're an obvious deception. If someone wants to take this and look into this stuff and connect leftists to the network too, that would be great.
Well, people will criticize us, and they've been doing this for years, saying, why don't you talk about Hillary Clinton's crimes? I mean, some people have done that on the network over the years. Well, it's because Hillary Clinton wasn't going to be president. She wasn't taking away any of the pro-white activism, the anti-Jewish activism, and she wasn't, and now she's not president. So that's why I'm not focusing on her. Because by focusing on her and her crimes, you're legitimizing Trump. Well, at least we don't have that wicked, wicked devil.